Walter Kemp was not about to let her escape again. Come out, wherever you are," he muttered in a sing-song voice. She couldn't hear very well, but still he treaded carefully, unwilling to blunder through the dense woods and scare her off. He wanted her calm and unaware until he was good and close, so he had to be stealthy. And deceptive. He tossed a pebble deep into the lush foliage to further disguise his position. On the outskirts of San Diego, the secluded park felt far from civilization, and from prying eyes. "You can't hide forever," he whispered. "Not from me." Walter, a solid man in his 60s, wasn't the least stiff or winded by the hunt. He was nearly in the same shape as 30 years ago. A bit less hair, but so what? There were more important things in life. Like what he was presently up to. She had slipped away from him, forcing him to spend the past half hour stalking her. When he found her this time, he wouldn't let her out of his sight until he was finished. A slight rustle to his left caught his attention. Was that her? He squinted in the direction of the noise. She peeked out from behind a bush, and his heart hammered with excitement. She was every bit as beautiful as when he had first seen her. Catching sight of him, she froze. No matter. She couldn't get away. "I've got you now." She hadn't been his first, and she wouldn't be his last, but she might be the loveliest. He reached into his vest, thick fingers fumbling over the finely machined metal and plastic, one of the tools of his trade. Slowly, carefully, he raised his hand and took aim. He would have only one chance. She opened her mouth wide as if to scream. He pressed the button and held it down. At the rate of 30 shots per second, the Nikon captured 90 images in stunning 45 megapixels of the Lampropeltis sonata pulchra, also known as the San Diego mountain king snake, before she slithered into the underbrush. Walter had pictures of several males, but had been on the hunt for an elusive female for weeks. Only careful study had allowed him to spot the subtle difference in the subcaudal scales, those under the tail, and the slightly shorter proportion compared to the overall body length that indicated the sex of the reptile. Unlike with many other species, where the females weren't as brightly colored as the males, all San Diego mountain king snakes sported alternating bands of red, black, and yellow covering their bodies. The vivid display that mimicked a venomous coral snake was an illusion to scare off potential predators. The species was harmless to everything except the small mammals and lizards in its diet. Mission accomplished, Walter covered the expensive lens and tucked the camera back into his vest. Now, unconcerned about making noise, he tramped back to the trail that led to the lot at the park's entrance. He would much rather be walking in nature than attending yet another groundbreaking ceremony. At first, many years ago, real estate development had been exciting, his life's passion. He had started off with a small loan and slowly parlayed it into an empire. Things had begun to look different after over 3 decades in the business, however. He'd reflected on all the formerly wooded acreage he had eviscerated to turn into suburban havens, and he had started changing his practices. Last year, he took up the cause of affordable housing and had been working to improve blighted areas of the community that had fallen on hard economic times. He lost money on every project, but felt he'd gained back some of his soul. In addition, he could look his only child, an adult son, in the eyes again. If he was blessed with grandchildren, he would be giving them a better world. Walter made it to the parking lot, thinking about how his son's high school science project more than a decade ago had led them to bond over the study of reptiles and amphibians. They had both volunteered at the local herpetological society, though only Walter remained a member. He was nearly to his car when a soft clatter drew his attention. He glanced down to see a small white ball roll past his booted feet. Mesmerized, he watched its progress as it rattled along the asphalt and disappeared under his car.